when Saudi Arabia was the poorest country in the world. Saudi Arabia used to be a destitute nation. It had no cars, no electricity, no roads, not even hospitals. Illiteracy was prevalent. Food was traded for oyster shells. Playing with falcons was a popular pastime. How did a poor Arab tribe transform into a prosperous nation? First, oil, and second, clever management. The first Saudi state was crushed by the Ottomans. The second was plagued by internal turmoil. The third and current was established in 1932. The newly founded Saudi Arabia was nothing as we know it today. It was a desert with little food, water, or amenities. Urbanization and modern infrastructure were limited. There were only a few small towns and cities. The streets weren't paved. Some regions even lacked hospitals. The majority of the population lived in rural areas. The kingdom was mostly inhabited by Bedouins. They practiced a nomadic lifestyle. They lived in portable tents, herding livestock. They constantly moved in search of grazing lands and water sources. Bedouins were predominantly illiterate. They had a low life expectancy as well. Survival meant relying on basic, raw food. Falconry and hunting were popular pastimes. Saudi Arabia imported clothing and food from India. It exported dates, pearls, and oyster shells in return. The Arabian Gulf was a major center for pearl diving. Although time-consuming, it was profitable. Many Saudis took up pearl diving as a profession. Some of them had never even seen the sea before. The Saudi economy also relied on pilgrimage to Mecca and Medina. But pearls and tourism alone weren't enough to sustain a country. Numerous Saudis migrated in search of work. They traditionally worked in India, handling cargo. In 1933, Saudi Arabia changed forever. The kingdom granted its first oil exploration concession. The Standard Oil Company of California began drilling in the eastern province. The early attempts yielded little success, but in March 1938, SoCal struck black gold. A Saudi Bedouin helped an American geologist find Dammam No. 7. It was a vast 4,724-foot deep oil reservoir. It eventually started flowing at 1,585 barrels a day. Most countries tax their citizens to fund services, but Gulf rulers adopted a different approach. They collected rents from oil, then they distributed the wealth among the population. The transition from a nomadic society wasn't easy. For example, the government built a city in the desert for Bedouins, but the Bedouins wouldn't move into the houses. They put their animals inside and continued to live in tents. Back in those days, stop signs meant nothing. Car owners would drive their pickup trucks in the desert. Then they'd crash into rocks and abandon them. The sudden influx of cash overwhelmed the society. It was remarkably easy to sell anything to Saudis. One huckster arrived in Jeddah with a challenge: selling raincoats in a place where rain is as rare as a two-headed camel. He cleverly marketed them as Bedouin tarps. He sold enough to cover his expenses and earn a tidy profit. That kind of trick wouldn't work in today's Saudi Arabia.